conversations on privilege and other issues we need to address to unset our table. So it means so much to us to join with you here today at the Healing the Divide table for more listening, more visioning, and more action. You can get involved with us with the Public Education and Awareness Committee. Follow us on Facebook and contact us to get involved. If you really love the work that you do with conflict, there's probably someone out there hoping to connect and learn. You just might be CRM's next mentor. CRM supports mentorships for all types of conflict resolution. So to learn more, visit our website or email us. You can also support us by becoming a CRM member. You can check out the member benefits on the website, www.conflictresolutionmn.org. Your support means so very much. To respond to the challenging times without hesitation, this amazing board of CRM is committed to offering unlimited scholarships and figuring out how we're going to cover the costs somehow. So I am so grateful to the dedicated hard work of the CRM board, faced with unprecedented challenges and our conference not able to move forward in person this year. We shifted to a webinar series, which allows our conference to be more inclusive than ever. But to accomplish a truly participatory approach, we need your help. What I'm asking you today is, can you help us broaden our reach? You can like us on Facebook, search for info@conflict resolution, or search for @conflict resolution MN, or forward our posts and emails and tell other people about CRM. Check out all the Healing the Divide events we have to offer this year on our website. Think about who is not at the table today that you think that you would really like for them to be here, or you think that they would like to be here. And what we're asking is, can you let them know about these? Because we would like to invite them. If you choose to donate or contribute to our webinar scholarship fund, please check out our website, www.conflictresolutionmn.org, or email us at info@conflictresolutionmn.org. Thank you for considering how you can help CRM support the field of conflict resolution. If you become a sponsor or a friend of CRM, you will be included in our promotional materials, and you can receive special discount codes to send your group or staff or volunteers to the Healing the Divide conference webinar series. I would like to extend a very special thank you to our sponsors this year who have made it possible for us to keep going despite the hardships they are facing in these challenging times. I want to thank Community Mediation Minnesota, Freo, Metropolitan State University, and ADR Notable, and also our 2020 Friends of CRM, Echoes Healing Stones, and we are a chapter of the Association for Conflict Resolution. Thank you again. We are delighted to have you here with us today. And I would like to next introduce Denise Gordon, a board member and one of our student representatives. Hi, Denise.
Thank you, Lauren, for such a lovely introduction. As Lauren said, everyone, my name is Denise Gordon. I want to thank all of you today for joining us and being a part of this webinar despite the challenges that we're currently facing. The themes and objectives of this conference were strategically selected because we are living in an era of unprecedented change. With the advent of sudden changes and disruption to the quote, social order, end quote, conflict is inevitable. However, conflict does not have to be confrontational, but rather collaborative. This year, the conference committee, along with the board, has done some deep work to unearth privilege and implicit biases internally and work to decolonize ourselves and our work. There's still a lot of work to be done, and we cannot do that without the support of the community. That is why I am asking all of you to consider applying to the board of CRM. The COVID-19 outbreak pushed us to be adaptive and rethink how we can more meaningfully engage people, hence why we chose a participatory approach. This conference, by virtue of being online has become more accessible than it ever was before. Thank you all for joining again, and I hope you can join us for all of our upcoming webinars every second Saturday until December. Our annual meeting is in June, and that is when we elect people for officers and to be a part of the board. With that being said, I would like to turn it over to Akasha, our wonderful conference chair, who has worked so hard with the committee to move our conference from being in person to being a webinar and trying to make it as accessible as possible. Ukasha?
Thank you so much, DeAndre. And hello, good morning, everybody. I know I used to hear good morning back, but right now you can type good morning. That's fine. Again, my name is Ukasha.
Good morning.
Good morning. Again, my name is Uche Dekane, and I am the Executive Director of FREYO, which works with the East African community. Thank you so much for all joining us today in this amazing conference. Things have changed. The first day that when we were starting this, we were in wage table planning for a conference that will be amazing, that we will be ordering the same food and having the same conversation, but things have changed from what we were thinking, and that's nature, you know. Thing will change from one point of view, so we accept everything as well. This morning when I was just getting ready for this, I'm actually believing that I've overdressed for this. My wife was asking me, whatever you are up to today and whatever you will be doing, don't be charming, intellectual, or witty. So I'm trying my best to do as much as I can and follow my wife's instructions. Again, welcome. Thanks to the committee members who have helped me organize this from the day one to now. Thank you, Lauren. You are the amazing president we will ever have. Thanks to everyone. This is an unprecedented and emergent time in the light of COVID-19 and in the light of this economic uncertainty. My community and any other community have been struggling to find their own way of survival. And if you look as well, we have been under an unprecedented climate. Everywhere you look, the deep divide that has taken hold of our country was evident. Story after story, point of news as a deeply divided nation. Politics have pitted family members against each other. Children are being taken from their families. Body cameras and mobile devices positioned to capture tense police-community interactions, and the phrase active shooter is part of our normal vocabulary. Hate has become acceptable, some say even more fashionable. And for us to overcome all that, we have to heal the divide and, you know, like to heal the divide using a participatory approach. And every 1,000 and million miles starts with a single step. So today we are in that step of starting the conversation, whether you will be taking it to your community or taking it to your family. This conversation will be very much important. I know there's one volunteer of mine back in the days who just told me, Ukasha, you are doing an amazing work. And I know your community have been doing an amazing work. The Somali people have been struggling really hard to live in this economy. They are people who have faced significant traumatic life events, and they are trying to be resilient and surviving in Minnesota. But at the same time, my father, who is living in rural Minnesota, cannot understand how this community are thriving. The only thing that he can see was they are just dependent on the social services, the social welfare. They are lazy people who cannot contribute to our economy. But that wasn't right. He said, I stopped communicating with my father from that day when he didn't accepted this community and when he didn't accept my conversation. And today I'm just putting back that whole scenario into your life. I mean, how much or how brave can you be to start those conversations in your dining tables, to bring your families in, to show them the different perspective of life and how people are different and how our togetherness will be powerful. So without taking that much of time, let's continue this conversation even after this conference. And I'm really excited, emotional at this moment, to see that we are still continuing the great conversation, even in the light of COVID-19. So I will introduce you to an amazing guy, my colleague, Raj, who will take you guys to the brave space. Stay seated. We are all tuning from our amazing bedrooms, but thank you all. Welcome, Raj.
Well, thank you, Kasha. Appreciate Lauren, DeAndre, and the many others. Lori, who is behind the scene, pulling the strings. And thanks to Dr. Madison, Jay Zhang, and Fartune for agreeing to be on the very first session. So I want to invite you, along with the rest of my colleagues, to enter into a brave space. By definition, brave space is about not just simply coming in to share what you have experienced, but it is about how you engage that experience, both at an intellectual level as well as an emotional level. We want to invite you to take that intellectual breadth and width and that emotional breadth and width and collide them together, create that fusion energy that will allow us to not just show up in spaces as allies, but as accomplices, right? Spaces that will change because you are there and your voice is heard and you are inviting others to be engaged in that space. We want you to take what our amazing presenters are going to say and not just simply reflect on it. We want you to get out there and restore the humanity in our community with their message. They are not here to just simply feed you for an intellectual exchange, or as we say, intellectual masturbation. We want you to really and truly take their words and breathe life into that words in your respective spaces. So again, our invitation is for us to move the pendulum from being allies to accomplice. We want you to move from reflection to engagement. And with that, I appreciate all of you for being here. Like many have said, whether it's in times of challenges or not, we need to be in this space to be present and to be heard and to take action and to be engaged. With that, I will hand it over to our one and only amazing minister, MC, Jacqueline.
Can you hear me?
She's coming.
Yeah.
She'll make an entry.
All right. Oh,
Wow.
no, it said someone needed to unmute me. That I just want to say, remember, if you have a mother living, to acknowledge her within your spirit, because if it wasn't for her, you would not be here. So for those of you who are on the webinar series today, I would like to say Happy Mother's Day to you in advance. And make sure you thank somebody's mother for being a part of your life. As we move forward, we're going to start with our first expert panelist. Our state representative, Jay Zhang, was elected in 2018 and served on 5 legislature committees: Judiciary and Civil Law, Jobs and Economic Development, Legacy, Labor, and Veteran and Military Affairs. He is also a founding member of the Legislative Caucus Minnesota Asian Pacific MAP, and a member of the DFL Climate Action Caucus and the People of Color and Indigenous Caucus. Zhang is the co-founder of the Grassroots Network Progressive Hmong American Organizer and civic organization Asian American Organizing Project. He has led 2 successful campaigns electing the first Hmong American to the Minneapolis City Council and the first lawmaker of Hmong descent from Minneapolis to the House of Representatives. Zhang also graduated from St. Olaf College and has dedicated his career in the public sector for over a decade. Prior to being elected, Zhang was an educator, political organizer, and a civic leader. In the legislature, he has been a strong voice for refugees, immigrants, and undocumented Minnesotans. Zhang also has been advocating for arts, culture, heritage, environmental justice, voting rights, legalizing adult use of cannabis, addressing education disparities, and youth career workforce development. He resides in St. Paul with his family. Will you please welcome our State Representative, Jay Zhang. Thank you.
Well, thank you, I'm honored to be here today. First of all, I apologize that I will not be able to join you all for the rest of the day because I received late notice the last few days that we have session today, so I'm actually here at the Capitol, and then I have to jump up pretty soon to go to caucus. But then I'm honored to speak here today. As you all chart the course of the second half of your year, I know that 2020 has been off to a rocky start, and at no other time in our community, our nation, and our world's history, our professionals and dedicated individuals like you are more needed now than ever. We begin our year obviously with a threat of a world war with the assassination of an Iranian leader, and then the growing political hot potato of playing politics with COVID-19 with China is ever present in our news feed. We have nefarious people working every day to turn headlines and book pages for more money, ads, and the likes on social media. But you all are the unsung hero of our age and our societies in this moment. And now you, more than ever, are professionals who are dedicated to helping solve our issues as a society and between individuals, organizations, and within and between communities without resorting to dramatic and drastic measures such as violence. You deserve our thanks and recognition for more than ever. It doesn't take much to film yourself doing a random act of violence on a light rail platform or to throw a random punch. In fact, it's cowardly, but it takes true courage, great discipline, determination, and the greatest resolve and logic of human will and intellect to peacefully talk through a conflict and reach a peaceful resolution. And so you are the people who keep us safe and sane in the world outside of our walls and between Zoom meetings. I also want to say that government has an important role in partnering with the work you do to keep our communities safe and to ensure that the wonderful work you do in our communities continues so that we all can ensure a safe and healthy environment to work, live, play, and no matter what the issue is. The resources that would otherwise go to drastic government intervention is saved through thoughtful, clear-headed, and important work that you do to mediate conflict within our communities on a daily basis. And for that, I thank you and commend you for the priceless work you do, which not only comes from the heart, but is executed with the utmost care, passion, and compassion. Government is not necessarily the first resort for conflict resolution. Many of our cultures have always been communal, and we have had our own internal methods of resolving issues before it gets to a government level. In fact, I was just having a conversation with my younger brother the other day about how in the Hmong community, traditionally, it has always been that when there are conflicts, we usually go to an elder. And so for some of us, it was practical because central government administration was far in geography or corrupt in nature and could neither be trusted nor reliable. For some of us, it was just a badge of honor that we operated out of self-sufficiency. For many cultures, it was a way of life. And from we get the adage that it takes a village because it truly does. But of course, we should remain a ready partner to complement your toolkit when you want and need our partnership. And we need great, innovative partners like you in a community from the grassroots to keep our community bond strong. So thank you. As a child of Hmong refugees, I have seen the power of government and the power of healing. I have also seen the unfortunate effects when government does not step in, turns the cheek, or does not heal, but hurts. We have seen the federal government come in through our local communities and bulldoze Black homes, businesses, and dreams across this country to make way for freeways and interstates, destroying and disinheriting generations of Black wealth and education. We've also seen the power of government partnering with religious institutions to resettle the world's poorest refugees and immigrants across the country so that they can achieve the American dream. We've seen government use its greatest power to invest in the minds of young people from lower classes with subsidized higher education loans, grants, and fellowships. And we have also seen historic disinvestment in certain communities of color that have had financial and economic ramifications for dozens of decades. What the government gives, it can take. And yet, in no other time and now, we have seen the great unifying power of government at work to save lives. I cannot be more proud than to have Governor Tim Walz as our governor. As our head of government, he has taken the initiative to help us end the curve on this pandemic while furiously working hard to ramp up our logistical supply chain and hospital capacity. And like you and the many professionals in your industry, he has done so with ease through calm, competent leadership, building trust and listening through lasting relationships. Governor Walz has set up a statewide hotline to report hate crimes targeted at Asians during this pandemic. He and other state officials have reminded us weekly about new hotlines that families can call for coordinated free meals and mental health access on demand 24 hours a day. This is how we heal the divide in this country through tough and honest conversations, which build trust and lay foundational transparency about realistic expectations in a given situation. At the end of the day, everyone wants to be listened to and felt that their concerns were heard, and acting thoughtfully with an eye toward the future in daily conversations with everyday Minnesotan at his 2 p.m. press briefings. Governor Walz reminding us how a good leader, how a good government, and how a great bridge builder can help us solve and troubleshoot not just through conflict but a global pandemic. And we all get out of this not only better but thrive together. And so we need a new discourse on race in this country. We need an honest discourse on the toxic rhetoric in this country and how that bitter bipartisanship is and should no longer be acceptable. We need to hold people accountable who act on racist actions. We just can't look at a neo-Nazi skinhead rally where white supremacists mow down anti-Nazi protesters and say with a straight face, there were good people on both sides. No, they're not. You either have clear and realistic expectations or you don't. And we need to stop allowing people in positions of power to exploit this pandemic to make racist attacks on Chinese or Asians because of a virus has no geographic boundaries. We need to reach back deep into communities, and we need to have real conversations with real people about their problems, what they care about, how issues affect them, and then work together to address the inequalities and inequities. I have no doubt that you all are better equipped to do this better than me. You are the experts. And after all, I'm just a cog in government and policy. You are the folks on the front lines changing lives every day with every conflict you resolve between two peoples, organizations, entities. In fact, I think we need you here at the Capitol, who may, or entities who may otherwise use more money and government resources to hash out their differences and impact the greater community. So I want to say that I stand with you as a friend and strong ally. Keep doing what you do. You are the real heroes who stamp out fires we never see. You put out the nightmares which never see the day of light. You kill the demons which never materialize through hope, innovations, human decency, dignity, and above all, both empathy and service. You all change lives by helping all of us get along better. And so it's been an honor to have been your guest today. And I wish you all the best as you continue to change lives, challenge narratives, and write the true stories in our communities today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jay, we appreciate that. I would just like to point out something that you said that was just touching to me about how can we as leaders today reach back and make a difference. What is it that we can do? If we look at where we came from and the life that we live, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people that's watching, which would be great panelists as well, expert in the areas that they're working in. What is it? Think about it before we move forward. What is it that you can do? Think about it, write it down, where we can look back at our lives and some of the experiences that we have, and we can make a difference in someone's life. Just being here today shows me that you care about our community. And Jay, we stand strongly with you, letting you know you can go and look at the people who are sitting, and we're standing with you and we're standing for you. And we appreciate what you are doing to save lives and souls and change life. Thank you for being a change agent for this community. We applaud you. Thank you. I know that if I'm not mistaken, you're supposed to be leaving about 11 o'clock. So I'm just gonna ask if we want to take any questions for him before he leave. I know we were planning to do it at the end, but I'm not sure if he
Let's take questions.
Okay, because I looked at the time, it didn't look like it was quite 20 minutes, so I figured that maybe we could take some questions since he has to go.
Yep.
Or if people have questions later, feel free to email me. My email address is rep.jay.xiong@house.mn.
So I'm sure somebody would put that in the chat, right?
All right.
Can you
And
give that to us
I
one
am
more
doing.
time in slow motion?
I am
DeAndre,
doing that right now, Reverend Jacqueline.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you, DeAndre. We appreciate you.
Well, I don't have a question, but I was gonna say thank you to Jay. It was last minute I reached out to you, and you did an amazing, great speech as well. Thank you so much for taking that, time from your own busy schedule to be here with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. This is Brenda. I'm just wondering, in hearing your presentation, how you were talking about some of the attacks against Asian people in this pandemic. And I'm just wondering too, I've heard some of the questions that have gone through communities and things that people are grappling with regard to that. I'm just wondering if you can share some of those things that have been going on, and also maybe if you could give us some ways that we can help to combat some of that type of hatred that is going around our country. Like Dr. Jacqueline said, or Reverend Dr. Jacqueline said, it's just, what can we do at this space? Because we're talking about healing that divide. So, if you could give us, because I don't want to remain silent and complicit in this kind of thing. If those kind of conversations are in my space, what are the things that I can do to combat some of that type of racism? Using my voice is obvious, but are there other ways also that we can further that and spread, the word that, we have to stand together as a people, as American people, whether we're Asian, whether we're Black, whether we're Hispanic, whoever we are, against the injustices that we see.
Thank you, Brenda, for that question. That's actually a very great question. And in fact, my colleagues in the Posse Caucus, we actually had a long conference call yesterday, and we're actually going to be addressing some of the issues during this pandemic tomorrow evening, during Mother's Day, about this. And there was, in fact, another conference yesterday with API leaders, and especially here in Minnesota, in this country. One of the issues is that we have leaders who are spewing misinformation out there, and when community members don't get the full facts, it's where construed information can lead to a lot of misinformation, misinformed, ill-informed community members who will perceive it differently. And for example, I myself, was it this month? It was last month. During the pandemic, I was at the Aldi's on the east side of my district, walking out of Aldi's, and suddenly walking into my car, and I heard someone yelling, rumbling some things, but I didn't think much of it. So I got in my car, rolled down my window. As I was rolling out, there was a person across the street yelling some racial slurs, and started saying some things about physical appearance. So I said, wait a minute, I'm Asian and I'm a big guy, and there's no one around here but me. So he must be talking to me. So I looked at him, and he was looking directly towards me. And I was shocked that I heard all this information about what's going on with the Asian American community. And this gentleman across the street was telling me to go back to my country with my virus that I have brought to this country. And I'm thinking, I can't believe this just happened to me. And so I shared it with my colleagues, I shared it with my constituents, I shared it with people. And I've been getting a lot of supportive feedbacks from the community, but I think it's very important for those of us who feel comfortable to share about what's going on. And it's also important for us to have the conversation about the facts, about what's really going on. And as I said earlier, this virus knows no boundaries. It may have started from Wuhan, China, but it's here in America. And I think the other reality is that there are those people who, regardless of where this virus will come from, if they grew up with hatred, they will always use anything to come towards you. And so I think it's very important for all of us as community to come together, to unite, to have these conversations, and to better inform our communities, especially those like me who are in position of power, to better educate and tell folks that, hey, this is not the way to resolve an issue. Yelling at me, calling me names is not going to get rid of this virus. Punching, slapping someone is not going to get rid of the virus. What will get rid of the virus is all of us coming together, finding a solution on how we can protect each other, grow together, and be safe and be healthy. And I know that this may not answer your question exactly, but I would encourage you all, if you have an opportunity tomorrow, to join me and my colleagues on Facebook. If you don't have Facebook, you don't need Facebook, but it is fb.me/DFL Policy Caucus, and we will be having a conversation about this and many others in terms of response and relief during this pandemic. So I encourage you all to join us and share with us your concerns too. It'll be from 6 p.m. until 7:30 p.m. There are 14 of us, people of color and indigenous people in the Minnesota House of Representatives, and I believe a total of 18 if we include my Senate colleagues, but they won't be joining us tomorrow. It will just be the House DFL Posse Caucus.
Great, thank you.
Again, thank you, Representative. We really appreciate your time with us. Be safe if you're driving, and even if you're walking, and be careful walking across those streets now, okay? We need you back here with us. Let's give him a hand. And our next speaker is Fartune Ismael. And she is the founder and executive director of Somali American Women Action Center, which is known as SAWAC. SAWAC, I'm assuming that's correct. Fartune has worked with underserved women for more than 10 years and up to now, where she is a role model who shows other women how they can become leaders in any field. She creates a safe space for women where they develop their social enterprise skills, which was a step in their journey towards economic independence and a new life after war and conflict. I hear a little echo, so somebody may not be muted. She believes in a holistic and participatory service delivery when serving the underserved communities. Fartune work has helped the immigrants and once a refugee woman achieve and thrive, and through this work, she brought communities together and a participatory collaboration. I repeat, through her work, she has brought communities together in a participatory collaboration. Last year, during the Bullying Prevention Month, Fartune launched a campaign called So Hijab, Not Hate, love it, to end bullying against women who wear hijabs in a creative way. She created her unique model where sewers all across Minnesota will sew hijabs to more communities in a solidarity, and has also hosted a Tea and Talk in the Twin Cities for interfaith communities dialogue. Fartune works got the national attention where she was featured in the national magazine, newspaper, and One National News. She is a woman hero who contributes to a lot of the lives of undeserved women or unserved women in our communities. Let's give a warm welcome to Fartune Ismael. And Fartune, if I botched any words up, please forgive me, but I would like for you to share with me if I did. Thank you and welcome. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you all. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for doing all this great work, and thank you for inviting me to this great initiative. Yes, everything that you said was correct, and nothing you made wrong. So you said it right, all of it. Thank you again. Again, my name is Farah Ismael. I am the Executive Director of Somali American Women Action Center, known as SAWAC, SAWAC. And you know, I've been around for so long that I've been working with women. So I have some background, and of course, I've been raised a strong woman. So I'm taking that from her. So thank you for having me again. I was once a refugee woman, and who was trying to uplift and empower women who carry the same story that I carry. Through SAWAC, I have created a space where women develop their social enterprise and skills, which is a step-in journey toward independence and a new life after war and a conflict. So therefore, today I am going to talk about my work and how it brought a community together for a greater good. In my journey, people ask me questions like, what is the significance of the hijab, and why did you came to Minnesota? Are you imposing your ideas and your faith onto the American people? So I thought to myself, maybe there's some work to be done in terms of bridging the knowledge gap and helping our neighbors understanding that immigrants and refugees are looking for safety, education, and job opportunities. So there I have started something called Sambusa Saturday, and which was a conversation-based program that I aimed to bridge the gap between people and create an environment where understanding and compassion thrive by sharing sambusa. To those of you who don't know the sambusa, it's a delicious snack that I make for my husband whenever he is upset. So it makes him like, yay, now I'm off what I was going through, so it's something like that. So you may be tested for Minnesotans, those who go to Somali restaurants. There's a great sambusa out there. So if you haven't tried it, maybe try it after the COVID-19. It also promotes harmony and brings together those of different cultures and faiths for them to understand each other better. I also teach women learning sewing skills and sewing skills, and me and my team last year, we hosted the So Hijab Not Hate. So Hijab Not Hate, and which aims to pass a message of love and understanding in our community through the So Hijab Not Hate. We also stood up for Muslim women who have faced many hateful reactions because they wear different. Muslims have been prohibited from wearing their head cover, as you see, the one that I'm wearing, in a number of contexts. I have been witness a group of vibrant women who I've helped apply a job and a field application and all the process. I took them to the company, and when we finished all the process, the day they wanted to start, when they went together by themselves, and I wasn't there to interpret or all this kind of process, they told them that, oh, we didn't know that you're gonna wear this long hijab, and you won't be able to work here. So the next day they came back not working and said that we don't have no job because they told us we're not accepting because you're wearing a different thing that we don't recognize, obviously. So that's that kind of things that women have been went through, and I was witness. So they have been harassed, fired from jobs, denied access to public places, and other discriminated against because they wear hijab. Because of their visibility, Muslim women who wear hijabs face particular exposure to discriminate and have increasingly been targeted for harassment since 2016. Through all these divisions, I see that humanity has fallen a deep, dark pit in the only way, and the only way out is up. The walls are slippery. Some people broken their legs on their way down. The light seems far away. It's cold, it's wet, it's crampy, and everyone's troubly afraid. You know, everyone is looking for to get out, to get back to a better place. You know, and rightly so, because the situation is, very bad. Those unfortunate enough to still have strength and intelligence will probably try to climb on top of their fellows to act desperations, but we quickly find a mob doesn't appreciate that, and so they also, you know, they will soon be pulled back down, meaning no one gets to skip, and everyone continues to live in equal misery, crying and mourning until they die at the bottom of a hole. The only way up is together. Sometimes I get lucky. Someone comes along to throw a life, and indeed, some intervention from on a high might also be necessary in the end, especially for the truly broken people of this world. They might have to be hosted by a rope from above. I wish I could say I was that person, but I'm down in the wall with the rest of you. However, I am at least looking up, scanning the horizon, squinting at the dim light, and calling out for help as I think about what to do next, and if there's anything down here I can use to improve our situation. Meanwhile, everyone else is busy fighting for control of their own personal corner of hell. I have often expressed that one of the most important things you can say to someone, which isn't said often enough these days, is I disagree, but I'm not against you. Because we divided along the tribal lines, we have not been heard to stand strong as self-reliant individuals. Our strength comes from others, and we in turn become dependent on them. To some extent, that is good and necessary, as it helps make our own life and the life of those around us better. But in many other ways, it conditions in us a sort of knee-jerk reactions to any sort of criticism. We call it either loyalty or defensiveness, depending on the outcome it produced. Indeed, it could well be that only reason person is even offering criticism in the first place, in that they care about you enough to let you know there is a weakness, and they're bringing it to your attention in order that you may then go and fix it and make yourself even better. Today we can rise together. We can bring healing to our communities. We have to understand the pain of others and their journey. When someone tells me to go back to your home, I say to them, I am at home, and no one leaves home unless the home won't let you stay. You have to understand that no one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. Please understand the pain and struggles of others, and join me in Sambusa Saturdays. Hopefully, we will all enjoy together Sambusa and get great conversation after this pandemic. And thank you all. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Well, I'm sure you can see the hand snap and the applause. We appreciate it. First of all, I would like to say thank you, Fartune, for sharing that powerful message with us so that we too can promote harmony among others. Also, I would like to apologize for those who may not know that they harass you all, but I just think that your attire is such a great statement of modesty and unity among the sisters especially. And unfortunately, sometimes the things we wear may come with some pain. But I thank you for one thing that my mom taught me, is that ignorance is curable. So today, we all have been cured with the intelligence that you have shared with us. And also, the only way up is Absolutely right. We have to do it together. And I will also like to interject that another way up is unity. And it starts with the first three letters of unity, which is you and I. If you and I get it together, I know we can do this thing. So how about this? Whoever's on video, how about you kind of stretch your hands out like you're connecting it to the next person and give it a little squeeze. Social distancing, virtual, love it. And we just praise you for what you have already done. So let's show that we care and that you and I can care together. Thank you, Fartune, for such a powerful message. How about let's give her another hand? I am so touched by what you have shared with us. So next, we will start with our next speaker, an expert panelist. Her name is Dr. Tamara Madison. Can you guys see Rod's picture up there in that corner? It just looked like he's just grinning at me. I just thought I would bring that to your attention. Dr. Tamara Madison, PhD, Organizational Management and Leadership. Dr. Tamara Madison is Assistant Division Social Service Director at the Salvation Army Northern Division, and owner and principal consultant for Generation to Generation Incorporated. Following a long-standing career in financial industries with several major corporations, Dr. Madison recently was the Executive Director of Dispute Resolution Center. She worked as an academic dean and dean of faculty at 2 for-profit universities. In 2014, she opened the first safe harbor shelter for girls ages 12 through 17 who were victims of sex trafficking and exploitation for 180 Degrees, a nonprofit organization. Over the past 15 years, Dr. Madison has personally trained and facilitated large and small groups of youth and adults, providing workshops and training around restorative practices, cultural competencies, leadership, and career and college preparation. In October 2018, she became Rule 114 qualified, and she is a community engagement professional. Dr. Madison has worked with diverse populations over the past 20 years, including youth and families in the Minneapolis and St. Paul schools and charter school area leadership learning. Let's welcome, it's still morning, Dr. Tamara Madison, and welcome. Good morning, Dr. Madison. We are so happy to have you here. Let's give her a hand.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. I am absolutely honored to be invited to be with you on this day. I am very thankful for the conflict resolution in Minnesota, thankful for Lauren's leadership and the board. You guys are doing amazing work. So this is my first webinar, so I'm gonna try to have as much fun as I can. And so we're talking about healing the divide, and I wanna just add with that title, Repairing the Breach. I wanna open up with a reading. It is an anonymous reading, and it says, The Wise Woman's Stone. A wise woman who was traveling in the mountains found a precious stone in a stream. The next day, she met another traveler who was hungry, and the wise woman opened her bag to share her food. The hungry traveler saw the precious stone and asked the woman to give it to him. She did so without hesitation. The traveler left rejoicing in his good fortune. He knew the stone was worth enough to give him security for a lifetime. But a few days later, he came back to return the stone to the wise woman. He said, I've been thinking. I know how valuable the stone is, but I give it back to you in hope that you will give me something even more precious. Give me what you have within you that enabled you to give me the stone. So when I think about the wise woman's stone, how freely she gave, so shall we freely give of our precious time, our precious talent, our precious gifts, without reservation. And not in, some people do take and run off with what we have, what we shared, and, you know, for profit or whatever, kind of like what's going on with the hoarding of things around the COVID. But he wanted to know what within her made her share that precious stone with him. So I want to give you a few minutes to kind of think about that. You know, what have you given that is precious to others without hesitation? Yes. So healing the divide, repairing the breach. You know, when I think about a breach, I think about something that has distanced us, something that came between us, like something that we were going along and all of a sudden we started parting our ways. And so now we have this breach between us. So I think that when we think about a barrier or a wall or a trench, something that is keeping us from walking collectively together. As practitioners, you know, we're supposed to be professionals. I see a lot of unprofessionalism, but I ain't gonna go down that road this morning. We ain't got that much time. However, but as professionals, we should be working together, making sure that we are collectively on the same page, going down the same road together, because we definitely can do more together. So one of the things that I find people doing is they like to insert themselves into places and spaces instead of waiting to be invited. When I received this invitation, I was so honored and gracious, because I would have never thought that I would be in this platform, but I am very thankful for this opportunity. So I am learning that I don't have to insert myself in spaces. I can wait till I am invited. So I invite you into this room today. I invite you into this space. And so let someone else go first. That is really easy to do. I'm so thankful for Representative Zhang and Ms. Fartune. Just beautiful, beautiful, and honored to be even in the same space with them. So we're going to talk about how did we get to this breach? Well, in my short time at DRC, I learned that there was a lot of conflict within the organizations, as we called ourselves conflict resolutionists. And so when we're trying to resolve conflict, we first must have to deal with the conflict within us. If we don't do our work, we are not equipped to effectively do the work with others. When we are working with people who are in conflict, we are supposed to be neutral. And I don't think we always show up neutral. I think we show up with preconceived notions. I think we show up with our privilege and our pride. We forget how to treat one another. We don't listen to understand. We listen to respond. And heaven forbid that someone doesn't agree with you, because you just lose your whole mind. Ms. Fartune talked about that. Like, that is actually an opportunity for you to self-reflect and actually entertain what somebody is saying to you, because they mean good. They don't mean evil. They don't mean evil just because they don't agree with you. There are so many things that we don't agree on just because my lens is very different than yours. And women, we got to do better at this, because we are so much more competitive against each other instead of walking together. As Fartune talked about the things that, you know, the Somali women endure, and as, Reverend Jacqueline said, I love their modesty. I model their modesty. More people should think about why they do what they do and ask them, and be curious. Ask questions. Don't just judge and condemn and distance yourself from people that are different. Actually listen. Sometimes we just don't listen to understand. Hear what they're saying. Learn. Be teachable. So we talk about women and this great divide, and I think I'm thankful for the men on the call, absolutely. But women, we have more words to use in a day, so we actually use our words. And so sometimes we use probably more than we were gifted. I forget how many, but it's thousands of words that we have to our disposal, and we should be wise about how we use our words. So this breach that we have between each other, different lenses, different ideas, but the same passion and heartfelt work that is to go out in our community, help people to resolve conflict, give them some skills so that they can agree to disagree, because just because you are not on the same page, you might have said it in 3 different ways, but it is all to the same, that we want each other to live well. So tears, tears, tears. Oh my goodness. The tears that come when somebody just doesn't agree with you, or somebody says something that it made you really think, and the tears come. I want to say today that women of color have more tears than you will ever shed in your lifetime, because of what we've had to endure as people of color, because in those spaces where we're not welcome, and in those spaces a lot of times we're excluded, or we're there but people don't see you and they don't hear you, and so they don't learn from you, and you have amazing, amazing things to teach, but people tend to just awkwardly ignore you, don't hear you, don't listen. Or when you say something that is very different than they tend to start to respond. Like, oh, I didn't need your response. I have to tell my 9-year-old granddaughter, oh, I didn't need, that's not up for discussion. I just need you to hear what I said. I'm not asking for a response. So again, healing the divide by repairing this breach. We're so busy trying to impress each other with our knowledge, our expertise, our education. We should be impressed by the heart with which people show up with. The woman with the stone, there was something within her that made her unselfishly give. She wasn't looking for money. She wasn't looking for, acknowledgement. She was just sharing a meal with a hungry person. As my pastor, Wayne Felton, he says, it's none of my business what people think of me. We spend so much time concerned about what somebody think about us. I don't know. I can't control you. I don't know. I don't live my life around what you think about me, but it is really none of my business. We don't get to platforms like this without enduring a lot of pain and hardship, being dismissed, being mistreated, passed over. And one of the things that I always get to laugh at is being supervised by people that is old enough to be your child. That is something in the workplace that I am just tickled, because they have no clue what to do with you. They have no clue how to manage you. They have no clue how to supervise you. And it is quite interesting, but that is, again, privilege. Privilege gets you into spaces that you did not earn. I'm going to say that again. Privilege gets you in spaces that you did not earn. You got there because of the person you know, the shade of your skin color, and a lot of times we're not trying to say you're not great, because you're great, but you got in because of privilege. You didn't get in because you worked so hard. And I've said this in other spaces, you don't work harder than we do. We work hard. We have to be twice as good, twice as talented, and we got to put up with a whole lot of stuff and still show up with a smile on our face. So we talk about repairing or healing this divide. Man, there's a lot of pain that has been caused in conflict resolution, showing up and I want to help you. Well, have you ever thought about I can help you? Something to think about, right? Because this is not about me. This is about the people I serve. This is about the community that need my help. This is about the people that need assistance with a disagreement, conflict resolution. We will always have conflict. What it is, how we show up with that gift, with that talent, with that patience that thing that is within you that makes you sit at the table and actually take note to hear. And you might learn if you come to learn and not always to give advice, to control, to tell somebody what they need to do. We know what we need to do. We just want to know if you can sit between two people and come up with a positive solution that is a win-win for both places. So we talk about divided communities. Woo! Divided. I just noted about a few things on how we are divided. We are divided by race, gender, class, social economic status. We are divided by the haves and the have-nots. We're divided by property lines, by privilege, by assumptions. We're divided by historical trauma and mass incarceration. We're divided in the workplace, in the schools, neighborhoods, social gatherings, and even in the media. We think about how many times people of color are portrayed positively on TV. I read something this morning that was so disturbing, but it was so true. You know, everybody was concerned about COVID until they realized that it was killing a lot of people of color. And then all of a sudden, oh, let's get back to work. Well, I want us to take some time and think about those who don't have the space to even practice social distancing. Think about the people who lost jobs and now have to be at home trying to raise their children in school, and they haven't been to school to be a teacher, to be licensed, making these assumptions that people can now take care of their children. And then people said, well, why don't they have the budget to feed their kids? Because normally them kids get that breakfast and that lunch at school, and they get dinner at home. And if they're making the salaries that I've made in the past, it's hard to even feed your kids. You got to choose between going to the grocery store and paying a light bill. That's the real facts. And so sometimes when people are now having to figure out where they're going to find these other two meals, they got criticized. They got shamed. So we talk about healing a divide. We got to repair this breach. And this breach has been caused by us. So it is all of our responsibility to repair the breach. So as repairers, I want you to remember what Cornel West says, and Dr. Raj, he loves to say this, and I love hearing him say this. Never forget that justice is what love looks like in public. How are you showing up? Social distancing, quite the interesting thing. So I'm on vacation with my family, and we're in Indiana. Well, matter of fact, we're in Illinois, and we're going to the Target. And we're going to get some snacks because we're going to drive to Indianapolis. And we're walking down the aisle, and Caucasian lady, she goes away from us like we're poisonous. Now, at that time, we didn't have to wear a mask. It was brand new. It was like, matter of fact, it was the week after everybody went on house arrest. I call it locked, what a staying in shelter in place, house arrest. That's why I call it house arrest. So I noticed that she does this, but then I turn around and I watch her, because she didn't go around the white people that she walked by, but she walked around me. And so I had to process a whole lot. And those of you that might know me, or those of you that don't, I had to think about how I'm going to react or respond, because I initially wanted to just turn around and follow her and come as close to her as I could. Because social distancing, we're now masked. So now some people who don't want to work together, they can hide behind those masks and they can snub you and they can look at you like you're poison. But I would say social distancing is causing us to really sit back and think about how we have been showing up. I think house arrest is making us spend some time to sit with our own self. It's hard to sit with yourself and think about how you show up. We get to sit with our families. We get to sit with how we've been treating them. Because, you know, some kids is like, oh, you mean you got time for me now? Those of us that have professional positions and leadership where we spend so much time away from our families, we now are faced with sitting at home, spending time with our families and sitting with our own thoughts. So what have we learned? What have we learned on house arrest? You know, because I was going out. I was one of those, I didn't do house arrest very well. I would get in my car and drive around. Before it got really bad, I'd be the first one up at Walmart. That's just how I got ready to kind of deal with my anxiety about having to stay inside. And then I was told by a dear volunteer who was used to be in prison and how that triggered him with so much anxiety to be forced to stay inside. I mentioned this on a call that I had been on, and I said, you know, privilege, you've been able to travel, you've been able to go places, you've been able to just do whatever you just want to do. But people of color have been told where they could go and where they couldn't go, where they can participate, where they can't participate, where they can have or what they can't have. And it's all these things about what we cannot do. So putting us on stay in shelter, house arrest, made us feel like, here we go again, you telling us what we can and can't do. So it wasn't that we didn't take it seriously. We take COVID seriously, we take the virus seriously, but we are tired of being told where we can and can't go. So healing the divide, repairing the breach. So I want to talk about, we need to be more loving, more kind, more generous, more patient with each other, and actually listen. Listen to understand, not listen to respond. I believe that COVID-19 is humbling America, where we have just went about our day being busy, just seeing how many things we could accumulate. And now we're like, oh, playing fields are leveled. Oh, you lost your business? Oh, were you giving before that? I don't know. Were you? Were you kind before COVID? Were you nice to your family? Were you even nice to your employees? Because sometimes some of them are probably sitting at home like, I get to take a breath. I get to take some time away from being harassed, mistreated, neglected, not treated well. So we talk about healing the divide and repairing the breach. We always talk about listen with your heart, speak from your heart, speak with respect, and listen with respect. And, you know, I really ponder, do we really do that? Are we really listening with our hearts? Are we really speaking from our hearts? So I don't know if I've used up my time, but I just want to say a few more things here. I want you to consider 3 things. 1, I want you to be quick to listen and then wait to hear more. People aren't always sharing because they want to hear what you got to say. They're sharing because they probably haven't had an opportunity to share before. Another way we can heal this divide is to give up the right to be right. Why do we always have to be right? You know what you know. You don't have to prove what you know. Just know what you know. But somebody who is always being told no, they might just need to have an opportunity to just feel like they're right. But you who can allow that, humble yourself and say, you know what, this is cool. I am going to give up the right to be right. And then number 3, I want to leave you with is honor the gift inside of others. You have no idea what people have gone through to show up. You have no idea what people have gone through that end up in front of us as conflict resolution or social services. I'm really ticked off how people treat people who need social services. because they're treated like, and I don't like the word client, I like customers, I like guests, and I like participants. And if they live in a housing, they are our residents. Because without them, we don't have conflict resolution. If people don't come to need our services, we don't even get to exist. But we should see them like ourselves. The Bible does talk about love your neighbor as yourself. We should be able to see them doing exactly the same work we do. I am trying to train up the next generation because I am waiting to retire. And I want the next people, I want to teach them everything I know. I want to learn from them, but I see them doing what I do because lived experience is the most powerful experience you can have. So when somebody's sitting on that other side of the table, I know what it's like to hardly be able to feed your children. I know what it's like to people talk down to you. I know what it's like to people treat you like you're ignorant, like this is a handout. No, teach them how to fish. Don't just give them the fish, teach them how to fish. Share what's inside of you, but honor, because there's a gift inside of all of us. And in closing, I want to share what Ronald Reagan said. He said, peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means. That was Ronald Reagan. He said, peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means, healing the divide, repairing the breach. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you.
Well. That's all I can say is well. Thank you, Dr. Madison, for sharing that powerful message with us. Can we give her a hand?
Thank you.
Oh, that just kind of summed it all up. So, of course, I'm going to recap. When I think about her saying healing the divide, repairing the breach, what stones do you have that have hindered others or hindered you? And what stones do you have that may have encouraged others and encouraged you? So there's a saying that says, those of us who are without sin, let us cast the first stone. But I just have a little twist to that one. How about if you're going to throw a stone, some of us think we're throwing pebbles, which is not true. We're not throwing pebbles, we're throwing stones. And how about trying a stone that may inspire somebody else? How about a stone that causes somebody to think about their imagination? How about a stone that may cause somebody else to dream dreams? How about that type of stone? And then how about a stone that tells the person that you believe in who they are and what they can do? That's one way we can repair the breach, amen? So, thanks for gracing us with your presence, Dr. Madison, and telling us that there are certain ways that we can repair the breach. And one is, how about we just kind of listen? She says, so talked about your glasses and how people see things. So clean your glasses, clear the clutter out of your eyes, the crust out of your eyes, because it's preventing a lot of us from seeing. And if you have some tears that you might cry, I got a roll of toilet tissue over here, and it help a lot of us just clean up some of the stuff that we're dealing with. And one of the things I heard a songwriter say is this. Listen to this. If you're crying, hey, how about try that? Wipe your eyes out. Maybe some of us need to try that. Take all the obstacles that we have before us, some of the the stones that have caused us to stumble, we might need to think of some things in a different way. Because it says it's gonna be a bright, and if it's a sunshiny day, how about you pull out your glasses, your shades, and put them on? Might help you out just a little bit, because sometimes when that bright sun hit us, it can blind us. And some of us need to be blind to some of the issues and situations that we have faced. I just like to thank all of our experts for coming through in a crunch for us. We appreciate it. You have laid the foundation for us, and we really, really appreciate it. So let's take our ears. When I'm an early childhood major, we tell the kids, turn your listening ears on. How about that? Turn your listening ears on. And then also give up the right to be right, because it might be right, but it may not be right for the situation. So take care. I thank you, Dr. Madison, for bringing us such a powerful message. And I'm gonna go back to, where's Lauren at? I don't see her, but I know she's on here somewhere.
I was dancing to your song.
Oh, really? I was
We're gonna have a dance party after.
That, oh yeah, the rain is gone. So some of us, you know, if you're a Black sister, your hair get all drenched, mine's get a little crusty, starts pulling itself in, it won't stay straight. These waves starts turning to some kinky curls, and some of us need to probably pull some of the kinks out that we're dealing with in life. So I just want to thank you, and we're gonna open up, I believe, the floor for questions. Is that correct, DeAndre?
That is correct. I just want to start by thanking you again, Dr. Madison, for taking time to really like share that powerful message with us. As you were talking, something you said that really stuck out to me is giving up the right to be right, because like I was just like reflecting on just like my own experiences and just how I'm someone who like I feel like I always need to be right. I've always been like very competitive, but when we apply that like in a larger context, I guess my question for you, and then for all of you on the call, you can put questions in the chat box as well, and then I'll pass them on to Reverend Jacqueline, who's the moderator, and she'll acknowledge them. But my question personally is in terms of like larger context, like big social issues, like the events that unfolded this week, for example, with Ahmoud in like Georgia, what's your advice for people like myself and others who really struggle with like staying like in that moment and really like listening? Because like for some of us, like we're talkers and we talk a lot, and some of us like we're really great listeners. So what's your advice for people who struggle with listening but they really want to listen, especially in larger big social context issues such as racism and police aggression and so on and so forth?
Thank you, DeAndre, for that question. So when I started studying organizational management and leadership, I heard, and I can't even remember where I read it, but it said that a good leader can give up the right to be right. And so when I think of getting my way or being heard, I've learned that I took a class in listening when I was at Carlson Marketing Group, and I learned so much about what I could hear with my 2 ears more than from this one mouth that I have. And so I learned that I can, if I listen intently to hear and to understand, I can actually hear what somebody wants to say, but is not sure how to say. I can hear what they meant to say versus the words they used. And so listening is actually a skill. And you know what? I just don't have to be right. If I know what I know, I can humble myself and give that person time to be in the spotlight, to share, to feel good about what they're saying. As long as I know what I know, I really don't have to live this life trying to impress others, because that is a whole lot of work and it is stressful. And so when I say give up the right to be right, let it go. Just let it go. If you live what you say you believe out of your mouth in front of people, they will see if that's what you really meant and what you say. Because we have seen a lot of people use equity across the board as a word, a buzzword, and there's no equity in how they treat others. So I hope I answered your question. But yeah, just humility. It's okay to humble yourself and just listen. Listen to hear and not to respond.
That does answer my question. Thank you, Dr. Madison. I'm really glad you touched on that point about equity, because like we hear equity all the time, and like in those same spaces, there's no equity. So that was really important. Thank you. Reverend Jacqueline, I sent you a question from Beth.
Okay, yeah, I did see that. I saw the first one that I have been asked several times is, where can they find the information on the woman with the stone that you shared?
Actually, that is in a book. It is a restorative circle book that is on Living Justice Press website. They have a book, and so it is part of the openings and closings. And if you take restorative practices training, a lot of times that book is gifted to you. So that is the book which I drew that morning story from.
Thank you, Dr. Madison. And also, you touched on this intersection of ageism and racism. It's an important theme emerging in the pandemic, and it's important to the mediation community when so many of our traditions come from elders facilitating conversations. So Dr. Madison, do you want to comment more on that, or will you comment more on that?
So elders facilitating conversations, I'm reminded, I think it was actually, I don't know if it was DeAndre who said something earlier about, well, no, it was Representative Jay when he talked about the elders. When you had a problem, you just went to the elders. And so one of the girls group that I run called Talitha Kumi is really founded on the older women teaching the younger women. And so it is, I have a millennial. She lives with me. Trust me, she doesn't always hear me, but it doesn't stop me from trying to teach her. So, but we got to live by example. And I think that we need to have more conversations with the young people at the table. We should be gifting all of our experience and knowledge to them, because I think Uche was last year and he was a speaker, I believe, because I remember him. He was awesome. And to see him now as one of the board members, I'm like, you do that thing. But I remember him, and that's what we need. We need to just teach them how to show up, because they got a lot to say, kind of like DeAndre said, I gotta be right, I gotta be right. No, how about you just be present? Be present. But it is time for us to have conversations with our elders, because they have wisdom. And I see a lot of people on this webinar where I know you have lots of stories to share. And I would love to be able to hear some of those stories, because I know you have a journey, you have a story, and our young people need to sit down and start listening so that they can be better when it's their turn.
Well, thank you, Dr. Madison. I like what you just said about all of us having a story. So maybe Fartune and you and the rest of us can get together and share stories and eat samosas. Sambusas. That's right. And samosas, because I like them. And Uche can bring some tea. Sounds good
yes.
to me? And Ukasha, and you talked about Ukasha speaking. He's also running. He's a part of our political community as well, and we want to be supportive. And his lovely wife made, I don't know how many masks this year. How many, Ukasha, can you give us a?
354. We have made
Yeah. How about that?
354 from our home to the community.
And anyone else who's significant other have made masks. I've made some too, and I'm just grateful that we can pull together and I can finally get rid of some of the fabric that I have. Yeah.
It was fun and exciting. And the first time we have been donating this, it was in a diner. Not so many of them, not so many of the people that we have been giving masks have been expecting this from a community that looked different. And I was just standing in front of Lance and Bailey, like, free mask. Anyone wants to have a mask? Free mask. And everyone was kind of stopping by, taking pictures of me, and they were really excited. I mean, this is a random act of kindness. And I feel like we need to do more of that, even in pandemic.
Thank you for sharing that information. Please make sure you check the chat box. There are some links that have been shared with you, and we want to make sure that you get that before our webinar is over. If there's anyone else who have any questions for Fartune, please feel free to ask or put it in the chat box so that we can ask those questions for her. This has been so awesome. I don't know, I'm on pins and needles, just excited. That kind of awesome.
You know, I just want to add that I remember Beth's part of her question was about racism. And so one of the things that I just want to remind us is that is man-made. And unfortunately, we're living out the results of that, where they just wanted to just own or have, they just wanted to keep something for themselves, unlike the lady who freely gave her stone. They just wanted to keep it for themselves. And I just want to also add, people always say, well, why does it have to be about race? It just does. We didn't start this. It got started and we are living it out. But I would love for us to just start to humanize each other, because race is made up. We have 90+% more in common than we have in difference. So I just wanted to share that part about racism. It is real, unfortunately, and it is hurt America a lot. So.
Well, Fartune is still here. Do we have any questions for her?
I don't have a question for Fartune, but I want to really thank her for bringing that piece of go back to home.
Yes, definitely.
That's really a powerful message she said out there. I remember it was a while, not that much of, far time, when a person came to me and asked me to go back to home. Sometimes I wonder, like Rep J as well said, is this person talking to me or is this person talking to another person? And then when you figure it out, this person is talking to you, it really hurts. It really hurts. Which place that will be better can I be if not at home? Where can I be? And I like the fact that Fartune said, you can't leave home unless home won't make you stay. And no one leave home unless home is the mouth of a shack, and you only run for the border when you see the whole city running as well. This is a great message from a poet who have put together the amazing word of no one leaves home unless home chases you, fire under the feet, hot blood in your belly. It's not something you ever thought of doing until the blade burns threads into your neck. And even when you carried the anthem under your breath, only tearing up your passport in an airport toilet, sobbing as each mouthful of paper made it clear that you wouldn't be going back. You have to understand that no one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. No one burns their palm under the trains beneath carriages. No one spends days and nights in the stomach of a truck feeding on a newspaper unless the miles traveled. Those are beautiful words that I will keep with myself. And whenever you come across people who are different, you can tell them no one leaves home unless home push you away. Thank you.
Thank you.
I see some more questions coming in, Reverend Jacqueline. I'm sending those away.
I see Symbiosis on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do a curbside pickup.
Yes.
What can those who work with conflict resolution do right now, in a year and 5 years from now, to help heal the divide and repair the breach?
Is that a question for the panel?
I'm not sure if it's for, okay. Oh, we're asking all the panelists, what is it that we can do right now, in a year, 5 years from now, to help healing the divide and repair the breach? Should we get them hold on. So let's start with how can we heal the divide? The panelists that are here. Start with them first and then we'll move from there.
Well, I would just add that, having authentic conversations, having those courageous conversations. Dr. Raj, he set a courageous space for us this morning. And is it going to be hard? Yep. Is it going to be messy? Yep. But is it going to be worth it? Absolutely. Too many times we work with one another, but we never get to know each other. Like, I ask questions like, how's the dog? How's the cat? Yep, I got allergies, but I'll ask you, how's the kids doing? How's your husband doing? How's your grandma doing? If we just act like we're genuinely interested in each other, I think that will start some of the healing. Because I want to give a shout out, because my friend, Carol Markham Cousins, I don't know if she's on here, but we have hard conversations. She's Caucasian, I'm African American. Didn't know if you knew that, but we have hard conversations. But she helps me when I don't understand why somebody white did something, and then she has questions that she been wanting to ask Black people that she asked me, and I'm not offended. We have an incredible relationship, but we have some hard conversations. So be willing to have some hard conversations and get to know somebody that don't look like you. Sambusas are off the chain if you ain't had them.
Awesome.
That's right. Yeah, we can all heal the divide through togetherness. That's what I believe. And also by putting all the young kids, the young teenagers up front, by educating them and then giving this message to tell their parents. Because I feel like when you start from the young generations to empower them, and their mothers or their grandmothers, when they see the kids are changing and holding hands together and sending a great message to all the neighbors or all the community, then that will make the other community, their parents and the rest of the community, to wake up and work together. And yeah, Sambusa is a great way to start a great conversation and come together.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, we have about 6 minutes, so I'm going to turn it back over to our president and any other of the committee members.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our panels, to Jacqueline here for moderating us today, DeAndre for running our chat and making sure that the questions got to the panelists, for everybody who's working behind the scenes, to Lori who has been putting all this together, and without you, Lori, we could not do this. To all the board members, committee members, and to all of you out there who are doing this incredible work with conflict resolution, and we want to know, what can we do to help heal the divide? Let's continue talking about that. Let's join every second Saturday. Come to the Healing the Divide table. Bring your tea, bring your snacks. The tea and sambusas thing was our first conference committee meeting, and oh my God, it was so delicious. So it's become like our official snack. So that's why it keeps coming up. Yum. So we have our next upcoming event is actually on June the 6th. And this one, you'll have to register for separately. It is not part of the Healing the Divide series. So if you purchase the full series, you aren't already registered. However, we are doing it as a pay what you can donation. So you can come for absolutely free. If you want to help us out, be able to provide these things and be able to help other people be able to attend, please do pay what you can if you can. Also, times are hard, please come. The table is open. We will be screening the documentary My Story, My Truth, and the documentary producer is going to be our discussion facilitator, Naya Harris, and it is going to be an incredible, incredible event. And it is also our annual meeting, so you'll get to learn more about our work this year. And remember, like us on Facebook, grab out your phones right now and navigate over to Conflict Resolution Minnesota and like us so that you can follow us and know what's going on, because we want you to be able to come to our table this year. Some more upcoming events. Our June webinar on June 13th is Conflict Transformation and Restorative Justice with LGBTQ+ People by Sam Coltis and Connor Suddock. Then one of our conference committee members is doing the July webinar workshop, More Than Mental Health, Culture, Exceptions, and Pausing Judgment. Then in August, we have Mediation Ethics. Say what? Top 10 surprises for Minnesota mediators, and they'll be looking at that through a human rights lens. Leslie Sinner McElvoy and Valerie Jensen, the director of the Office of Human Rights and Equal Economic Opportunity in the city of St. Paul. So that's just the ones through August. We do have the full list all the way through December that is on our website, www.conflictresolutionmn.org. And I would like to bring Ukasha back because he has a couple of things he wants to share. And watch the chat before you jump off, because I'm going to put in your certificate of attendance for today. We are applying for CLE and CEU and all of those credit types. So cross our fingers, we'll see what we get. Thank you all so much for attending, and here's Ukasha.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed. So stretch your hands up if you have liked the meeting today. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I use whenever, that's exciting. Whenever oh, Raj, I've been smiling throughout the presentation. So whenever I attend a great meeting or I organize it, I used to say good job in a fancy way, which is GOODJOB, good job, good job. Yeah. So yeah, and then clap. So I don't know if we can do this on our end. So can you just unmute yourself for a second, and then we will say the GOODJOB, good job, and then clap, and then we'll go back to mute. Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. GOODJOB. Good job.
Good job.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's even way better than I expected.
Thank you, Birdie.
So Ukasha, I'm going to put up the 2 slides that you wanted to share here in our last 1 minute, and then Jacqueline will finish this out.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, thank you again. Thank you to the board, and thank you to the amazing committee from the community and from the board as well. So I want to thank first of all, myself for doing this great job. And then Ayan, Rukia, Mohammed, Lauren, our amazing president, DeAndre, who is an amazing young student, Raj, Revelyn, Jacqueline, our amazing MC today, and also our admin, Lori. Lori, you are an amazing person. We have been texting as late as 2 a.m. last night, like, can you help us with this? And she was up all the time. Thank you so much for bringing this together, or helping us put this together. And then the mission, the theme of this year is Healing the Divide, a participatory focus on the role of conflict resolution practitioners, partners, and stakeholders in a divided community. As I have said earlier this morning, our communities are divided more than ever, and we are pieces. So the only thing we can do is we can just bring all those pieces together. I usually say this, like the love and the community, it's just a beautiful flower that's been stricken by a storm. So all we need to do is just pick up that flower and use the thread and sew it back to the amazing place that it fall down from. So the objective of this conference is to define our division and actionable step to healing the divide. The second objective is equitable, engaging voices who are historically harmed. Exploring cultural humbling conversations in diverse communities, confronting our own biases in everyday work and life. So this is the main objective that we can always carry and focus throughout this year. Let's use our praise spaces and work this together. And we are all stronger together. Thank you for showing up in this webinar today.
Thank you all. We did it. We made it through. We made it through. My system is freezing up. If you sent me something, Lauren, for closing, I can't see it right now, unfortunately. There's always got to be some type of glitch that we have when we're doing something.
Oh, I just forget to add this. This is one of the amazing quotes I have ever learned in my entire life. It was from Maya Angelou. She said, people will forget what you have done for them. They will forget people will forget what you have done for them. They will forget what you did, but they will never forget how much you make them feel. So let's continue the great work and make people feel great in these conversations.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, we're at the 12 o'clock hour, 12:02, but I would like to leave you with this. Life is not a race, but indeed a journey. Be honest. Open your eyes, open your ears, and open your heart. Work hard. Be choosy. It's okay to say thank you, I love you, and great job. Let's tell our panelists, great job. Great job, thank you. And say it to someone each day. In this time with the COVID pandemic that we're dealing with, make sure you continue to tell at least your family members that they're doing a great job, especially if they have to put up with us. And I know some of us think we're perfect, but guess what? I'm not. I didn't say you wasn't. I say I'm not. Take some time out to deal with the spiritual side of yourself and do some reflection. Take some time to pray, because the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. And I'm so glad. How about this? Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Guess what? If you can do that, you're still living. So that's great. Let your handshake, maybe not right now, mean more than pen and paper. And right now, we might have to just go to pen and paper. The good old days, y'all have heard about that, right? Love your life and love the life of somebody else and what you've been given. It is not an accident that you're here today. Search for your purpose and do the best you can, in spite of the conflict that you might deal with. Dream does matter because somebody dreamed so that we can make it through this situation. Somebody came up with a solution, a vaccine to help us all out. It's always, and then you are allowed to be yourself. And I would like to say that you are allowed to aspire and inspire others. Laugh often, giggle if you want to. Appreciate the small things and even appreciate the bricks in your life. How about that? And the pebbles that come. Some of the best things really are free. Some of the best things really are free, like listening, free, seeing, free, smelling, free, eating, free. Don't worry, less wrinkles are maybe coming your way. But right now, with a smile on your face, I can say, you're cute to me today. How about that? Forgive it, forgive others, free your soul, take time for yourself and others, and plan for longevity. Because on the next webinar series, I would like to see you here. How about that? And recognize that to us today, you are special. And we are blessed that you are a blessing to us. Your presence is a present to us. Live for today and enjoy today and enjoy this moment. Because the next minute, the next second, and the next day, hour, or time is not guaranteed to you. So I just would like to say I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Thank you for attending our webinar series. Enjoy your day and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Gonna leave.
I can see nobody wants to leave. So you may not want to leave, but you got to go.
Yeah.